Breaking news, car prices rise as Donald Trump's tariffs go into effect. See, you got to understand what's happening. As we put more tariffs on countries, they do the same thing. So guess what? New and used cars go up, cost us more. Products for new and used cars go up, services go up as well. From oil change to gas to brakes being repaired, everything is going to cost us money. Obviously, Donald Trump don't understand business, and when he puts tariffs, they do it for us, and we, the American people, the little people, the middle class people, the poor, the homeless, we pay more for these services. I don't feel good knowing that we like those big body Range Rovers, Cadillacs, Toyotas, Lexuses, and everything else. Now we're going to pay more money for them because Donald Trump don't understand how tariffs work. He don't understand business. He don't understand politics, because so he's naive. We have to pay for it. I think it's a damn shame, and I don't think it should happen. But guess what? It continues to happen day in and day out, and it's because the MAGAs, Republicans, and Democrats voted for Donald Trump. Now we got higher tariffs. That means we have to pay more for our car prices, and this is a shame.
Look, the energy here is real, and I get it. Watching your cost of living go up while feeling powerless is genuinely frustrating. But here's what this guy is missing. Anger doesn't equal analysis. You can be completely right that prices are going up and completely...
Send this warning to everyone you know. You do not want to buy a car right now. Listen, it doesn't matter if it's a new car or a used car. The car market is going to plummet. And if you need proof, look, Tesla and Ford have already dropped their prices by up to 20%, and it's for these two main reasons. The first reason car prices are dropping, you can read right here. We are producing more cars, 6% more cars, than the amount of cars that are actually selling on a global level. This, along with the fact that governments are giving their citizens tax incentives to buy electric vehicle cars, is pushing the car market down. Now, I'll tell you when you should buy a car in a second, but because the new car market is getting absolutely destroyed, that is disproportionately affecting the used car market. Now guys, I'm in the market for either a new or used car, but instead of going to some lot and getting scammed by a sleazy salesman to buy a car, I'm going to be educated and look at both the United States car numbers and the global car numbers. And once I see everything stabilize and that prices aren't drastically dropping anymore, I'm going to go and purchase a car. If you want these updates, give me a follow and I'll let you know when I'm going to purchase something.
Now we're talking. This is the move. Forget the panic. Forget the doom headlines. This guy just described exactly what a rational buyer actually does. You watch the data. You track both markets. You wait for stabilization. Then you pull the trigger. Most people do the opposite. They react to a scary thumbnail and sign papers the same weekend, and that emotional decision costs them thousands.
Car prices might skyrocket as a result of these new tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China. Here's everything you need to know. First things first, research from Bloomberg suggests that new car prices could go up $3,000 as a result of these tariffs here in the United States. Not every automaker makes their vehicles in Canada or Mexico. However, some do. For example, Toyota produces the RAV4 and Corolla up in Canada. Honda is also facing a challenge here. The Civic and CR-V are produced in Canada, and again, they now face 25% tariffs when imported to the United States. 5 automakers in total import their vehicles from Canada. That would be Ford, General Motors, Honda, Stellantis, and Toyota. And even more automakers produce their vehicles in Mexico. You can see the list of companies here. It's a long one. Literally, most all of them are in Mexico. Investors are spooked, consumers are concerned, and if there isn't a resolution soon, we expect to see new car prices go up, and another $3,000 increase would be a lot. The average new car price is $50,000 right now, so yeesh.
Every car in America could go up $3,000 because of Trump's tariffs. That's the estimate. And worst yet, the lowest priced cars are going to get hit the hardest. As you know, Donald Trump is planning on hitting Mexico with a 25% tariff on all goods that come into America. The problem is a lot of American cars are built in Mexico, and 1/3 of cars $30,000 and under from Mexico. That means those are the cars that are going to get hit the hardest. That means people who can least afford it are going to get hit the hardest.
This is the part that actually matters, and nobody's making enough noise about it. The $50,000 BMW buyer barely feels a $3,000 increase. But the guy buying a $28,000 pickup to get to his construction job, that $3,000 is the difference between affording it and not. Every single time these kinds of policies hit, the math punishes the bottom first and hardest, while the top shrugs it off and moves on. That's not political. That's just how cost increases always work.
I said at the top of the show, one estimate is that every American car will go up in price $3,000 once Trump becomes president. Now, keep in mind, Trump is doing this because he says trade is unfair with Mexico and Canada as well. Of course, the current trade deal with Mexico and Canada was negotiated by who? Donald Trump. Another factor here, everyone says, oh, but wouldn't it be great to bring the jobs back to America and make cars here again? Well, here's the problem, guys. Guess how much it costs an hour to make cars in Mexico? $3.50, $4 an hour. Guess how much it costs in America? $33 an hour. If the price of labor goes up 8 times in America to make the cars here, you're going to be paying for it. And I don't know a single person who is willing to pay $3,000 more for their car so that it's American made. Now, rich people might. Most of us can't afford that. Hope you did your shopping at Christmas, because the Trump tariffs are coming soon and inflation is going to be an even bigger problem.
Oh dear, Trump has announced a 25% tariff on all imported cars. This is to bring back manufacturing jobs back to the US. And in a completely unrelated move, dealerships nationwide have updated their slogans to Honda, never heard of her, Toyota, now 100% illegal, but we might know a dude, BMW, big mistake, wrench ready. Meanwhile, Ford and GM execs are celebrating, confident that Americans will finally buy their cars, until people remember what a 2001 Chevy Malibu actually looks like.
Okay, the comedy bit is funny, but underneath the joke, there's actually a real point. Ford and GM have been quietly praying for years that import competition would take a hit so Americans would have to come back to domestic brands. Problem is, Americans have memories. They remember the reliability gaps, the quality issues, the resale value difference. A tariff wall doesn't fix a reputation. It just removes the pressure to compete.
In response, Germany has declared war by launching a luxury bicycle that somehow costs $80,000 and still comes with a heated steering wheel. In other news, used car dealerships have never been happier. That 1997 Corolla with 3 missing hubcaps and a cigarette burnt in the seat? Congratulations. It's now a luxury vehicle priced at $45,000, of course, plus dealer fees.
Could tariffs raise the price of your next car? The answer is a little more complicated than you might think. Who's getting hit? Chinese-made EVs such as the Volvo or Polestar, as well as Tesla batteries, and any U.S. companies using Chinese components, and smaller brands that rely heavily on offshore manufacturing. Now let's dive into how this is going to affect the used car market. There's a potential for a trickle-down effect. Increased parts cost equals increased repair costs, thus creating more demand, leading to higher prices. Warranty issues and parts availability could also lead to a spike in used car prices. Most dealers are seeing an influx in the amount of customers coming in to purchase because most people are aware of the tariffs and don't really understand the long-term effects of that, and this could potentially lead to vehicle shortages.
She's connecting dots that a lot of people skip over. Parts go up, repairs get expensive, people hold on to older cars longer, demand for used cars spikes, and suddenly that beat-up 2015 Civic is priced like it just rolled off the lot. She's not being dramatic. She's describing a cycle we literally already lived through after COVID, and somehow we're lining up to walk right back into it.
Ford is offering their customers employee pricing, but this may shift due to changes in the supply chain. While Toyota has low exposure for now, they are not increasing the cost of their cars, while Tesla is already lobbying against EV tariffs. The next 6 months could change the game again. If you're shopping soon, don't wait until the tariffs hit. Want us to do a deep dive on EVs, used cars, or part prices next? Let us know below.
Yo, Jump was like, Jump said, nobody like Tesla anyway unless you were freaking. So nobody like Tesla unless you were freaking nerds. I'm gonna list that piece of shit for $69. Yo, oh my god, I can't stop laughing, y'all.
The car market is crashing and dealerships are freaking out. Wait, what do you mean we're not running that? Oh, we're running the other headline today. Car prices are about to skyrocket. Trump's tariffs are going to increase the price of everything. Let's talk about it. If you've been on social media over the last few weeks, you've probably seen these two exact videos side by side. The real question is, as a consumer, who the hell is telling the truth? Sensationalism sells. It's why people do these videos. It's not because they're the truth, it's because you're gonna watch it. If I was to go on here and said, car prices are going to go down 2%, guess what? Nobody's watching that video. But if I tell you the world is ending, your eyeballs are glued. So let's just talk about the facts for a minute. First off, let's talk about the crash. So first off, if we're talking about new cars, the market has already crashed, which prices are at an all-time high. Now it's back to normal. Most manufacturers are willing to give discounts. And if you look at my videos, just go back a year and a half ago, you will see that people thought I was crazy when I said manufacturers and dealerships are willing to give discounts. Giving discounts, this is a shortage. Now all of a sudden everybody's saying, hey, I want to give discounts, I want to give incentive rates, I want to give rebates, because the new car market has normalized. Now, if the market is to crash, realistically, MSRPs are going to go down at most $1,000 to $4,000. And again, that is at most case, and I don't ever think that's going to happen. And the reason being is that businesses can be greedy. And when they're greedy and people are willing to pay these higher prices, it normally doesn't make sense to lower these prices. So I don't think this is going to happen. I think we're going to be stuck with these higher prices. Maybe they don't raise over the next few years, but I just don't think the price is actually going to come down $10,000 on a RAV4.
And here's the uncomfortable truth about markets that nobody puts in the headline. Companies don't lower prices just because they can. They lower prices when they're forced to by competition or collapsing demand. If consumers keep buying at $50,000, the price stays at $50,000. Simple as that. The only real leverage a buyer has is walking away, and most people aren't willing to do that.
So if that's what you're expecting with a market crash, sorry, it's not a reality. Now for used cars are still heavily inflated, and that over the next year and a half is going to start to come down. That has already started to come down, but it's not there yet. Over the next 2 years, we're going to see used cars start to normalize. It's not going to just be one day, December 13th, all of a sudden all the prices crash. It's not how a market crash is going to work in the car market. Prices are gradually going to go down to the point of no return, where dealerships are just going to start losing money, but they're going to make this a gradual return. The only thing that could impact this market and change this narrative is if Carvana or CarMax is to go out of business, which in theory, both those could happen. And if that happens and the market gets flooded with that inventory, that would make a crash happen. Otherwise, it's not happening. So Trump is going to ruin the car market, and its tariffs are going to ruin everything, right? Maybe, but probably not. First off, I'm going to use a real example of a car that is built in Mexico to justify this, but this is not a political post. I do not care if you voted for Trump. I do not care if you voted for Harris. None of that matters to me. I'm going to talk about the facts, because I don't want to sensationalize this or get people up in an uproar because it'll get me more views. I just want to talk about what's probably going to happen.
Rare thing to hear on the internet right now. Someone who just straight up says, I don't know for certain, here's my best read of the situation, no screaming, no doomsday clock, just honest analysis with acknowledged uncertainty. This is genuinely what financial literacy looks like, and it's boring, which is exactly why it gets a fraction of the views the panic videos get.
In reality, we can have all the fun drama we want, but we live this life, so we need to talk about facts for a minute. So first off, moving into 2025, probably not much is going to happen with these tariffs. And the reason being is Trump is more than likely bluffing with a lot of these tariffs, but he's crazy enough that he could do a lot of these tariffs. But when it comes down to Canada and Mexico, you don't enact a tariff on somebody with a wish list, right? You're not going to say, I'm going to enact this tariff unless you fix the border problem with us. Like, come on, like clearly he wants help with the border problem, and that's why he's doing the tariff. He's a 2-7 in a game of Texas Hold'em. There's 3 kings on the board, and Mexico has 2 aces. They don't know. Trump is crazy enough to go all in on the 2-7, but he might just have the king, and that might work. I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm going to talk about the reality if the tariffs do get enacted, right? And let's talk about the Toyota Tacoma. A lot of Toyota Tacomas are currently built in Mexico. A lot of people, I saw a video that 70% of all cars are built in Canada and Mexico. That is not true. It's less than 20%. But I digress. But Toyota Tacoma, some were built in the United States, some were built in Mexico. For the ones that are built in Mexico, the Toyota Tacoma is struggling to sell right now. They are overloaded with lots, and almost every Toyota dealership will give you a crazy deal on one. It's because they can't sell. So realistically, do you think Toyota is going to be like, you know what? Consumer, which does eat the cost of tariffs, are going to eat 25% increase on a truck that we can't even sell because we don't want to pay the tariffs? No, they're just going to move their manufacturing to the manufacturing plants they have in the US to be competitive. The 25% increase will not happen because Toyota cannot sell the truck right now.
This is actually the smartest take in this whole compilation, because it reframes the entire conversation. The tariff doesn't automatically mean your price goes up. It might just force a production shift, slower, messier, more expensive for the company short term. but not necessarily passed straight to the buyer. The reality is way more complicated than either the panic crowd or the dismissal crowd wants to admit.
So why increase the price 25% on a car that is overloaded, especially when you have alternatives that are pretty good? You now make that competitive with the Canyon. You would have competitive with the Colorado, the Frontier, all options that can and will be built in the United States, that have the option to build in the United States, and that's more than likely going to happen. Will the parts of vehicles increase the price of the cars? Potentially. Maybe MSRPs go up $1,000 to $2,000. All of this is possible. But right now, people are complaining that cars are too expensive, especially in this small truck market. So the chances prices keep going up are crazy. Similar to like the Camry, Toyota Camry, for example, prices are really high. Discounts are starting to go absurd to offset them. Yeah, the car market's probably not going to crash overnight, and Trump's tariffs probably aren't going to raise the price of cars by 25%. There's some truth to both, but they're not as sensational as people want you to think. In reality, both things are true, and it's like two tidal waves hitting each other. And what realistically happens in 2025 is they both neutralize each other out. And guess what? Prices stay about the same or increase just like they have been year over year for the last 100 years. I know this is not as exciting of a video, but it's based on fact.
Tariffs are good, right? And they're paid for by the countries that the tariffs been placed on, right? That's a good thing, right? Well, not if you want to buy a new Ford. Ford has announced that they're raising their prices $2,000 on specific models that are actually made in Mexico. So it doesn't sound like Mexico's picking up the tariffs.
Done. Debate's over. Ford just ended the argument. Not a pundit, not a politician, not a talking head. The actual company building the actual cars just confirmed that the cost lands on the American buyer. Period. The Maverick, the Bronco Sport, the Mach-E, all going up, and Ford is one of the ones that can absorb some of it. Imagine what smaller brands with zero cushion are about to do.
These are going to take place on Maverick small pickups, Bronco Sport SUVs, and Mustang Mach-E all-electric crossovers. Now, Ford has talked about what the tariffs are going to do to their company. It's going to raise costs about $2.5 billion, which they believe they can absorb about $1 million of it. So they're not going to pass all the costs to the American consumer, but it's still going to cost the American consumer $1.5 billion. Here is what they're saying right now. We have to watch what our competitors do. Ford CEO Jim Farley said last week, he said that's the key. Half the industry in the U.S. is imported, and they have $5,000 to $10,000 costs. Will they absorb those? Will they pass them on to customers? That will be a big decision, because the pricing decision is a competitive decision. That's what Ford is saying. So this is going to cost more for the American consumer. And it's at a time in April pre-tariff, because these things probably won't be seen until June when they get to dealerships. It says in April, Maverick sales rose 67%, Bronco Sport increased 55%, and Mach-E's fell 40%, with the company citing low inventory ahead of a model changeover for that particular one. So it sounds like some Americans are getting ahead of the game, but there's definitely going to be a slowdown when Americans have to spend more to buy those particular cars. So this is proof, if you needed it, the tariffs are not absorbed by Mexico or Canada when they produce cars for the U.S. It's not done. It's going to cost the American consumer more. Will automotive companies absorb some of it? As much as they possibly can, and still remain competitive. If you ever needed more proof that Donald Trump is lying to you, this is it.
We have 25% tariffs on cars and trucks. This has been going on for 5 months now. We've had tariffs for a total of 5 months. This has been going on, and the inflation is not showing up. In fact, we had declining prices for cars and trucks. Now, the picture is somewhat mixed. We did have some increases for some things. So apparel was up 0.4%. But a lot of these things are going to be mixed.
The average car payment in America is about a top $800 for the first time ever, and it's for a crazy reason that nobody's talking about. Everyone will tell you it's because people are wasting their money on luxury sports cars, but that's not the case at all. Truth is, cars are just getting way more expensive, like really expensive. This is a car my mom bought almost brand new in 2008, a Honda Pilot, and this is how much it costs. That same car today jumped up from a base price of under $30K to over $40,000. But most of them you're going to find a lot closer to $50. An affordable car in 2025 now costs $50 grand. You're not getting a decent car for around 30. I'm sorry. But this is also crazy. For the price you can buy this same Honda Pilot for, you can also buy a BMW X3 for almost the same price, or a Mercedes GLC for almost the same price. I know it might seem like everyone has luxury cars, but when they're the same price as economy cars, why not? Did I mention they get stolen a lot less? Because we all know if you have a new Honda, Acura, Kia, or Dodge, that thing's gonna get broken into a lot, and you might even wake up one day and it won't be there. That is not a problem these luxury manufacturers have on their cars. Because of this, in some states, a Honda might actually be more expensive to insure than a BMW. Cars are just getting more expensive. The 3 Series used to cost this much. Now for a base 3 Series, you're looking at almost $50K. So yeah, maybe everyone is buying luxury cars now, but if I'm spending $1,000 out the door with insurance and payments, why am I gonna buy a Honda?
The budget 2026 is a shocking news to all SG car buyer. The path value go down to 5%. They are telling you the rebate to you is lesser. It means that the cost of owning a car will be higher. If you guys have registered your car, your new car last week, you are lucky. Those people who want to have a review of your car, what do you want to do now? What should you do now? Should I wait? Should I buy? It depends on your needs, your wants, and what car are you having. Okay, you want a review. Okay, you want a review one, contact me first.
So here's the actual takeaway. The car market was already messy before any of this. Overproduction globally, inflated used car prices still not fully corrected, average monthly payments hitting all-time highs, and now you add massive import costs on top of that existing chaos. The people telling you it's a full crash are wrong. The people telling you prices won't move are also wrong. The truth is slower and more painful than either headline. Prices creep up, buyers pull back, inventory shifts, and the people at the bottom of the income ladder feel it first and longest. That's not a political statement. That's just what always happens. So if you're in the market right now, do your homework, watch the numbers, and don't let a YouTube thumbnail make your financial decisions for you. Like and subscribe, drop your take in the comments, and we'll see you next time on Mind Mirror.